The story begins with Laurie, an elderly woman living alone in a small, peaceful house at the edge of a quiet town. After her husband passed away, her days became lonely, with little to look forward to. Her only joy came from tending to her garden, where she found comfort among the flowers. Each morning, Laurie would rise with the sun, make a warm cup of tea, and sit in her old rocking chair on the porch, watching the world wake up around her. Though neighbors often invited her to join them, Laurie found solace in her own quiet company. One chilly autumn evening, as the wind howled and rain threatened to pour, Laurie heard a strange sound from her yard. It was a faint, pitiful squeak, almost lost in the wind. She hesitated, wrapping a shawl around her shoulders. The weather was getting worse, and large raindrops started to fall. But the sad little squeak tugged at her heart. Unable to ignore it, Laurie grabbed a flashlight and stepped out into the dark, wet night. Carefully, she navigated the slippery grass, following the sound around her house. Finally, her flashlight revealed something small and shivering near an old oak tree, making her heart ache with concern. But before we go into more depth, don't forget to like and subscribe. We are aiming for 1,000 plus likes on this video, so be sure to like it. Let's continue the story. To her surprise, Laurie discovered a tiny kitten, a fluffy ball of gray-brown fur, shivering in fear and cold. Her heart melted instantly. Gently, she picked up the kitten, cradling it close to her chest to warm it. As she held the fragile creature, a loud clap of thunder boomed overhead, and the kitten clung to her sweater with its tiny claws, seeking comfort. Without a second thought, Laurie hurried back inside, feeling the kitten's rapid heartbeat against her own. Once inside the warmth of her home, Laurie carefully washed the kitten with warm water, dried it with a soft towel, and offered it a saucer of warm milk. The kitten eagerly drank, then curled up on Laurie's lap, quickly falling into a peaceful sleep. Laurie couldn't bring herself to sleep that night, staying awake to watch over the little one, worried it might fall ill after being out in the cold. By morning, the kitten was healthy and playful, filling Laurie with relief and unexpected joy. The next day, the kitten was full of energy, eagerly exploring its new surroundings. Laurie decided to name him Benjamin, a name that just felt right. Wanting to ensure his health, she made an appointment at the local vet clinic. Dr. Brown examined Benjamin thoroughly and reassured Laurie that the kitten was healthy, though he needed special care because of his young age. As days passed, Laurie's life found new meaning and joy. Benjamin quickly became the center of her world. He was intelligent and playful, bringing life back into Laurie's quiet home. Despite his short legs, Benjamin proved to be a skilled climber, often scaling the curtains and spending hours perched on the windowsill, watching birds and squirrels in the garden. However, Laurie began to notice that Benjamin was growing faster than she expected. His fur became thicker and fluffier, especially around his cheeks and tail, giving him an unusual appearance. But Laurie, completely in love with her new companion, didn't think much of it. She adored Benjamin and spoiled him with treats and toys, enjoying his playful antics. One day, Laurie bought Benjamin a new toy, a little mouse on a string. To her surprise, he reacted with extraordinary excitement. He crouched low like a real hunter, then pounced on the toy with impressive speed. Laurie watched in awe, realizing Benjamin's instincts were sharper than those of an ordinary house cat. As winter approached, Benjamin's fur grew even thicker, taking on a beautiful silvery hue. Laurie adored watching him play, his fluffy tail flicking back and forth as he darted around the house. But one frosty morning, Laurie was startled by a strange noise outside. Peering out the window, she saw Benjamin had somehow slipped out and was joyfully rolling in the snow, completely unfazed by the cold. Quickly bundling up, Laurie rushed outside to bring him back in, but Benjamin was reluctant to leave. He chased snowflakes and rolled around in the frost, his excitement infectious. It took some convincing before he finally allowed Laurie to carry him back into the warmth of the house. This incident made Laurie start to wonder about Benjamin. There were other peculiarities too. Unlike most cats, Benjamin showed no interest in catnip. Instead, he preferred chewing on twigs and grass that Laurie brought in from the garden. And when startled, like the time Laurie accidentally dropped a vase, Benjamin made a sound that wasn't quite a meow. It was more like a growl, almost like that of a wild predator. These behaviors puzzled Laurie, but she tried to brush them off, thinking perhaps Benjamin was just a bit different. One day, Laurie's old friend Susan came to visit. When she saw Benjamin, her eyes widened in surprise. "Laurie, what kind of animal is that? He doesn't look like a regular cat." Susan's words lingered in Laurie's mind. Could there be more to her beloved pet than she realized? Laurie began observing Benjamin more closely, noticing his round face, small ears, and bushy tail, which didn't quite match a typical cat's appearance. With growing concern, she decided to take Benjamin back to Dr. Brown. The vet examined him thoroughly, his expression becoming more serious. "Mrs. Thompson," he said after a pause, "I'm not sure, but Benjamin might not be an ordinary cat. We need to do some tests." The following days were filled with anxiety for Laurie. She couldn't stop thinking about what Dr. Brown had said. What if Benjamin wasn't just a regular kitten? What would that mean for him and for her? When the test results finally came in, Dr. Brown asked Laurie to return to the clinic for an important conversation. With her heart racing, Laurie entered the office, holding Benjamin close. Dr. Brown looked at her seriously and said, "Mrs. Thompson, the results are surprising. Benjamin is not a domestic cat. He's a Pallas's cat, a rare wild feline from Central Asia." Laurie's heart sank as she processed the news. Dr. Brown explained that Pallas's cats are an endangered species, not suited for life in captivity. "You've done an incredible job with him," Dr. Brown assured her. "But now we must decide what's best for Benjamin." Laurie was torn. The thought of parting with Benjamin was heart-wrenching. She had grown so attached to him, and he had become a cherished part of her life. However, she knew she couldn't give him the specialized care he needed. Plus, keeping a wild animal at home was not only challenging, but also against the law. After many sleepless nights and talks with experts, Laurie decided to send Benjamin to a wildlife rehabilitation center, where he could receive proper care and be prepared for a return to the wild. The day Laurie said goodbye to Benjamin was the hardest of her life. She held him close, tears streaming down her face, whispering words of love and comfort. Benjamin seemed to understand and gently purred, nuzzling her hands. The center's staff promised to care for him well and keep Laurie updated on his progress. Months passed, and Laurie received updates about Benjamin. He was adjusting well to his new home and showing the natural behaviors of a wild cat. The experts at the Wildlife Center said he was ready to be released back into the wild. Laurie was invited to the reserve where Benjamin would be set free. It was a day filled with mixed emotions. Laurie felt proud of the decision she had made for Benjamin's future, but she also felt a deep sadness about saying goodbye. When the cage was finally opened, Benjamin paused for a moment, sniffing the air and taking in his new surroundings. Then, with a burst of energy, he raced into the open space. In the distance, a wild Pallas's cat appeared, and Benjamin ran toward it with excitement. They quickly vanished into the tall grass, leaving Laurie behind, watching them disappear. Despite the ache in her heart, Laurie knew she had made the right choice. This experience had taught her the importance of protecting wildlife and respecting nature's balance. As she returned to her quiet home, Laurie felt a profound sense of peace. She would always treasure the time she had with Benjamin and the joy he brought into her life. So, what are your thoughts about this heart-touching story? Share your opinions in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on our new animal stories. Your support means the world to us.